All right, welcome back to Vice Project Doom. I have a confession to make. This is recorded very far ahead of when we originally recorded this. The first half of this game was recorded August to September 2019, somewhere in that range. This is being recorded June 2021. Because apparently I have no sense of time management. And also, I didn't leave myself any notes, so I have no idea what in the hell I had originally planned when I split this up in two. And I really don't know why I did split it up in two is the thing, because there's really not that much left to the game if we play this well. And I guess that's the kicker, we have to play it well. The last couple stages are really rough. Especially this one. If there's any place where we're actually gonna lose all our lives and possibly have to continue, it's here. Not on the train, but in World 7 in general, because there are some rude platforming stages coming up here very soon. But yeah, these are recorded very far apart, but more or less, I remember everything that's going on. Heart has a bunch of stuff going on. That's it, that's all that's happened. He keeps getting shot and he throws grenades at people. And he eats meat on a stick. And he starts in the sewer. Of course, past me, left me, starting right at the sewer stage. Of course he did that. So, this is gonna be some of the worst platforming in this game because the enemies are very aggressive here. They just fly towards you or they come at you super fast. And because of the water effects, it's a little tricky to tell sometimes where it's safe to jump. Add to that, the water does move you slightly, and it does kind of screw up your platforming in general, and like I said, don't be surprised if we end up having to actually game over here. I'm gonna do my best, but can only do so much. It also bums me out that, of course, this game has to have a damn sewer level. I mean, Ninja Gaiden technically does. It has a waterworks stage. But this was the chosen one. It could have not had the sewer. We could have been free. There could have been no water physics. There could have been no just freaking acrobatic rats flying at me in the middle of a sewer, threatening to knock me into another pit. Whew, okay. We're doing all right actually here. This is honestly the stage I'm the most worried about. If we can get past this, then I think we might be okay. Until the final boss anyways, until the final stage. We're just gonna be tanking a lot of damage in the process. It really sucks, like I really do think this might be the worst stage in the game. I just can't tell if it's just because of the physics, just because they demand so much of you, just because of the enemy type, or just because it's a sewer. I don't know what it has to do with this. Just sewer stages just suck in general, unless you're like playing a Ninja Turtles game, which is then sewer stages are expected. I guess if you want to show gritty like sci-fi, I guess sewer works because, you know, the industrial era. Oh, John, hang on, get that meat on a stick. Get that sewer meat on a stick. And get ready to fight this boss. This boss has a surprisingly glaring weakness. If you duck here, you can just avoid getting shot completely. That beam though, hurts a lot, so be very careful. You have to be ducking. Otherwise, you can just get in a cycle where you can either just wait or just huck grenades while they're over here, and switch back to plasma cutter and then just slash away. As long as you can fight the current, you'll be fine. Big gun. Even though we did not use that. Don't make any sudden moves, thing I just blew up. Where's the girl? I want answers now. Oh, right, Christy got kidnapped. And of course, it's probably not speaking because we blew it up. Don't play games with me. Where's the girl? I've got a giant gun here. Oh, I guess this is our ha. Thanks, game. So, in the original version, that's apparently supposed to be some just sort of like like mwahaha kind of maniacal laughter, but I don't know why it's so weirdly translated in this version. Like I talked about originally, the original version of the game is not that off in the translation. But there are some weird decisions, and that's kind of one of them, the way they translated maniacal laughter of all things. There's a couple times it comes up where they just find different ways of doing like mwahaha, but none of them are really as good as mwahaha. I feel like if you're just gonna commit to having an insane bad guy, just commit to Mwahaha. Maybe that's just my thought process. Maybe I'm just way too discerning and demanding of my maniacal laughter. Maybe that's just me. Well, here we are in the electric factory, which has this weird enemy that throws, for some reason, nuts. Like nuts for nuts and bolts. And the other weird thing about them is, besides them taking 2 hits, you can deflect them? Which is kind of neat. But if it's on the ground already, it doesn't quite react the same way. It only gets a little bit of extra height, so it sort of tricks you into like thinking you can just do that all the time. Oh my god, all the flashing in this stage 2 is not helping. I'm sorry, guys. Some other stages are gonna be worse from here on out too. Uh-oh, John. This part's not hard, John. There you go. Okay, we're good. Now, more flashing. Oh god, we're gonna need a flashing warning on this one for sure. At least, for some reason, this area is just way easier, though. As long as you're ready for... He said as he fell. As long as you're ready for the robots that are just kind of coming towards you, you shouldn't have too much to worry about. And now I have a lot to worry about, because I think I have to make some jumps I don't normally do? Yeah, I don't normally go this way, so... Normally I'd be going where that guy is throwing the nuts. Oh, John? That's not a platform. That sucks. 2019, John, also was a bit more practiced. We're going in a little rougher here. I really picked bad stages to leave to future John. That was not the smartest decision I could have made back then. Although to be fair, I have to make this jump normally anyway, so I don't know what really I goofed up there. It was just paranoid about that. Yeah, because that's not that hard, so why did I goof that up? Weird. All right, well, we're here now. This is where we needed to be. And then we whiff the throw a lot. Oh no, we got that one. All right, get that meat on a stick. Get out of here, good lord. At least stop the flashing lights. Nope. We have one last screen before we get to the boss, and then we have a weird boss that's either stupidly easy or annoyingly difficult. Let's see if we can make it stupidly easy. Get on this platform as soon as you can. Now stand below them and just slash like crazy. Half their attacks do not reach you. There's just a bunch of places where they just don't do anything towards you. Just keep slashing. As long as you're ducked and slashing, the overhead hang on that plasma whip gets them fine. Hard, I've been looking all over for you. I don't know how you could have missed the trail of destruction I've been leaving. This really haven't been, it's been pretty obvious at this point. Oh, it's just you, Sophia. You're not Christy. I don't care. Gee, thanks. Had warm receptions from an ice box. The weird one-liners are just what make this so charming, though, even though the story is pretty dumb. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really worried about Christy. I haven't heard from her. So, in the original version of the game, Hart is freaking out a lot about Christy, a lot in a lot of the dialogue, and it's just so downplayed in this version for some reason. They also sort of give away the name of the company doing it, B something or other. Biotech, oh, you won again. Thanks, Sophia. Don't mention it. So, I don't know why they kind of hint about Beta Corporation, which is the company that actually does this, is doing everything, because it's never brought up at any other point in the game until after this stage. But for some reason, in the English version, they just they're like, eh, something like that. And if you think about it, assuming Sophia's also a cop, shouldn't she remember the name of the company that's causing problems and you're investigating? Like, that just seems like really shitty cop work at that point. Then again, Hart's definitely just kind of murdering things indiscriminately, so maybe that's they're moving off the playbook for a while. Or we're completely on it. Really depends on who you ask. We are a mercenary that is just, you know, glazed over completely in an attempt to build character. All right. Now that we're fighting all these weird mutants, Really, well, and we have this random bear that flies at us? That might be one of my favorite enemies design-wise, but like least favorite to fight. Because I love that they're like, here's a mutant that like warps out of the floor. Here's like acid dripping from a ceiling. Here's a fucking bear. I think there's gonna be another one coming up on a screen here in a minute too, so I wanna see if I can freeze frame on him, see if he's like even mutated. I mean, it's kind of a werewolf look, but that's also just a goddamn bear. Why are we just fighting a bear? Why is it carrying a soft drink? And bullets. I mean, really, at this point, why were the birds carrying them? It's just funny that, like, the bear shows up in the biotech area. Like, we've already had to deal with a bunch of monsters and stuff. Why make it look that much like just a bear? Oh, here we go. We've actually reached Ninja Gaiden 2 territory. The evil purple goo. The real threat all along. Now we know for sure we're dealing with mutants. And mer people? A merman? This is sort of a merman. Cut through more of this. So here's the thing, like, back in South Central America, we already dealt with these when they were green, but for some reason making them purple just makes them that much worse. Also, more bears that can apparently shoot their claws, so I guess that's the thing, they're supposed to be more mutated. But still, more bears. I'll get that before he shoots me. Oh God! A lot more demanding of my reaction time now, but I think we can, some of these guys we can kind of cheat. If I can, yeah, this guy I can get if I throw a grenade down there. Get the soft drink he was carrying. More of those weird heat-seeking birds, pseudo birds. Another bear. And I think this is the last time I have to deal with bears. Still gotta deal with this guy though, but he has my meat on a stick. Let's go fight the boss. It's a Yeti. Two ways to fight the Yeti. One is just go to town with swinging. The other is that the Yeti always follows the same pattern. Jump to one of the two platforms, and then jump to the opposite one. So if you have grenades, just go wild with them. However, turns out the Yeti was Christy. Christy! I'm around bubbles! The bubbles are behind me. Is it really you, Heart? Christy, what have I done? Why were you a Yeti? I didn't know that. Is it running the family? Sorry, instructed to love you. So very tired. That's a lot of emotion in that one sentence. And now she's disappearing. Christy, hold on! I'm not holding you for some reason. I'm just letting you slip through my hands. Bida. Christy! I would show emotion, but I'm not capable of that. So anyways, Beta Corporation. World's largest conglomerate. There's still a piece missing. I've gotta follow this. He got over Christy pretty fast. He probably realized she's a Yeti, it won't work out. However, talk about seeing yourself face to face. He looks just like me. Who is he? What is he? Let's just glance over that. There's absolutely nothing hinting towards that happening, even in the other game. Christy, stand by me. Help me to settle this thing once and for all. As I get in my car, I just left tube me back there. In the original version, just straight up, like, there's like a butt that translate, like that is the only transition you have to seeing that tube version of a guy that looks just like you. They'll deal with it in a minute, but it's just funny that they're just like, weird. There's me. Okay, well, let's drive my car. Let's blow up some stuff. One of the many reasons, like I said, that I just kind of make fun of this game for the storytelling, but I'm just happy to have another car section. But we are also almost done the game. We have one car section, one gun section, one platforming section, and then the final boss is, because, you know, it's a Ninja Gaiden style game. You can't just have one boss fight. Gotta have more than one. Okay, let's top up on food, and now let's fight this annoying boss. This boss sucks because the only weak spot on it is its head. And because of the way it moves, sometimes it's hard to get damage on it. You can try lowering your speed if you want to position yourself better, but considering how many projectiles are flying around here, you should be very careful. And of course, its erratic movement pattern doesn't help anything at all either. So this, when I was re-practicing the game to get used to recording this again, I did find that this was the boss I actually screwed up the most on, because it just is weirdly demanding because of how small the hitbox is and how erratic its movement is, but it's otherwise not that bad. And now, the Ziggurat, or the Colosseum. The perfect ending to a lousy day. Shooting people! Time to settle the score. Yeah, a lousy day, just gotta go blow up the Roman Colosseum, no big deal. That'll teach them to do question mark. We're still not sure what's going on. We just know they're a corporation and there's a lot of ninjas and people with guns. So they're probably threats, I guess. Same as before with the Operation Wolf style stage, just shoot everything. It's still pretty forgiving as long as you've got ammo and grenades. You don't have much to worry about. Plenty of bottles of Coke just flying around. Don't get stabbed too much in the chest. And make sure any enemy that's attacking you doesn't just stay there, because otherwise they will keep attacking you. That guy on the bottom who usually shows up, the guy in blue, if you leave him there, he'll just eat through your health. Case in point. And now, the final platforming stage. Oops, I am using grenades. This stage somehow has, since it's the last stage of the game, managed to have all the most annoying enemies in once, including clowns, ninjas that fly out of the ground, ninjas that fly off the ceiling, and I don't even know how to describe that guy, the guy that just leaps towards you. Kind of looks like a He-Man villain. Of course, the guys in red, the ninjas in red are gonna be their biggest threat of all. The clowns are probably the easiest thing, and these guys, well actually no, the leaping man-o-wars are also kind of an issue. The ceiling ninjas are gonna be your least threat. Your least threatening thing to worry about. However, they're also the ones that hold all your health pickups, because of course they are. So be careful. We got orbs as well. Just keep running and hope for the best. The positioning on the ground ninjas are just so infuriating. All right, this is the last room before the final bosses, so if we're gonna lose lives, this is where we're gonna be losing them. Especially considering a bunch of enemies just kind of fly at you like this. We have to do something really annoying here. I'm gonna make a jump, throw a grenade, then take damage to make it through the rest. We might not be able to do this simply because of how much health I have left, which means we're gonna lose a lot of ammo, but here we go. Throw a grenade to get that guy, tank the damage from the other to bounce back on the platform and be fine. Now we have to be careful here, because, again, more man-o-wars. More He-Man villains. Oh, that guy's gonna kill me. Soda. Grenades, more, no, stop it! Stop it, we're so dead. More soda. I don't think we can physically do this. I'm gonna try it. Okay. I can't believe it, we did it, holy crap. All right, so, we have 2 bosses coming up here. Let's talk to the first one. We've been expecting you. You've had a very long journey. Well, you made it hard on me. Yeah, I was supposed to date with you. I love blind dates. Yes, well, I like actually. Oh, you remembered. Oh, you brought flowers and everything. And now for, of course, the giant lore dump. Now to get you caught up on the entire plot. It's about survival. I'm merely a provider of what is required for existence. Except so I guess drugs, because I'm a drug cop? Provider? You're nothing but scum in a business suit. And I can tell you're wearing a business suit despite the fact that you're completely covered in shadows. Come now, there's really no such need for such hostility. We're a legitimate service witch. Lies, cheats, steals, and assassinates. Real legitimate. To be fair, a lot of companies do that. Hart, that's really not any different if you think about it. And better hopes for you, Mr. Hart. Things did not go quite as we had planned. You made it here alive. That was, of course, against plan. So is this it, Mr. Hart? You disappoint me. I've waited so long for your return. Dun, dun, dun. It's raining. How do you know my name? What do you mean return? Finally, everything gets explained, but you've probably pieced some of it together at this point, considering we already saw the dude in the tube that looked a lot like us. Fate? I don't think so. How can you deny what you've already seen? Do you recall the capsule? Amazing resemblance, wouldn't you say? Dun, 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 again. And then the big reveal happens, except we've already seen this guy's face before. It's us, but paler. It's beginning to make more sense now. I have my thinking face on. Your face, like mine, and that thing are all the same. We're brothers. Very good. No, Hart, no. You and I are merely dolls created to maintain this organization, to keep it prosperous forever. All this has happened to make a company keep running, which is annoying. And it eventually, I think, became the plot of The Sixth Day, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But yeah, it all came down to making a company run forever by cloning the same person. But it's never explained why Hart became a cop and got out of this cycle. It's never stated. Like, even in the Japanese version, it's not like he knows he's a clone through all this. But he's not, like, they're not the original, not even the guy we're about to fight. We're just not sure what happens. It's just never established. It's just one of those, like, it's bigger than all of us kind of situations. Let's do it. Time to fight ourselves. Quite literally. He has our exact same moveset. However, he has a big restriction on it, and I'm gonna show this right now. If you stay a half a screen away or less, but don't get too close to him, keep standing, and then when he lands and starts firing, duck, he will never hit you. I might have, yeah, if you get too close, he will use the whip. If you get too far away, he'll throw grenades. Just make sure to stand up and duck when he starts firing, and you will never get hit. Although, unfortunately, my health is gonna carry over to the actual final boss, which may get us in trouble, because I don't have much health to screw around here. And if I screw up completely, we have to do that last platforming room again. Your skills are impressive. What a shame you won't be needing them any longer. Why? Because I'm gonna run the business? You might still need that. You guys murder a lot of people. You must die. Come and get some. Nice one-liner, Hart. Now we're on the roof, and he turns into a giant monster, because of course he did. There are two ways to fight this boss. There's the easy way and the faster but more risky way. Let's start with the risky way. This way is very risky because you will bump into him and take a lot of damage. The other way is to use your grenades. If you stay far away, just throw grenades when you have a chance to hit him and dodge the projectiles, you should theoretically make it through, because the beams only do 1 to 2 damage. Although normally I would have more health right now, so I'm gonna be playing pretty cautiously right now. The Katana Method is way faster, but obviously way harder because you have to duck his headbutts every time. This part though, as long as you have you're patient enough, is not that bad. And honestly, this is the biggest disappointment, is that the final boss is almost too easy. If you get here and you do not have grenades, there's one last mechanic in the game we haven't even touched on yet because it hasn't been necessary. If you run out of grenades, you will auto recharge and regain more grenades. The game will give you 2 grenades every time you run out after about 5 seconds. So this boss is way easier than it needs to be because of that. Every dog has its day, me. Just remember, Mr. Hart, in you flows the same blood as mine. But we're never gonna elaborate what that means other than you being a clone, or why you somehow broke your programming. Also, we blew up the Coliseum. Okay, it's probably because we were hucking grenades everywhere. That's it, that is the game. That's Vice Project Doom. This game is super fun, but it's super quick, and the story's just kind of dumb. The end. Again, that is supposed to be maniacal laughter. I guess I get it, because you can just like, But that's it. The game just unceremoniously kicks you back to the title screen. That's everything to see from the main game. Now, I've talked about it a bit, so let's actually show this off. I'm going to show some footage from the retranslation of the game. The ROM hacking group Stardust Crusaders, led by Pennywise, Aisha Shah, and Ryusui and Lord Oddeye, and I probably butchered all of those, so I apologize, but they all worked to retranslate Gun-Dec into English again. And again, this showed more or less how accurate the translation was in the game. Some things are very accurate, like the beginning is pretty similar. Some names are changed instead of like, it's Hammer instead of Jacobs in the original release, in the North American release. Weird other little changes like that. But a lot of the text has a lot more flourish to it, and that's mainly because of the way, Japanese writing is. They can fit a lot more in a lot less space. It's one of the limitations with translation. However, again, for the most part, everything seems pretty accurate up to a point. It's raining. Anytime you cut towards the actual shooting gallery modes, Hart talks a lot more and basically just sounds like an asshole going, yeehaw! Another thing that this version did differently from the North American one is that there's a lot more internal monologuing, which makes sense for a game that's kind of film noir, sci-fi-ish, and detective-like. Plus, apparently, they mention drugs a lot more. They straight up say cocaine, and Christy is named Chris in the original version. This is one of the big changes, though. At this point, when you fought the giant robot at the end of Stage 6, which would be Reese, your partner in the North American version, this is Captain Reese, a war hero that I assume ties into the mercenary talk that Hart talks about earlier. That's why they know each other. But they pull a Metal Gear Solid, which I guess at this point is just a Metal Gear, and they start talking about how war has no heroes. They have, war is only a pit of human misery. Basically, it's the whole, war is bad. It does feel a bit out of place here, but also, they straight up show Captain Reese getting shot. They spell Reese's name differently as well, R-H-Y-S instead of R-E-S-E. But everything else plays out more or less the same. Reese knows that they've kidnapped Chris or Christy, that girl, your partner. They got her. Although, this version at least mentions it's your partner, so it narrows it down a bit better. He freaks out a bit more reasonably, as you would expect, considering he knows that it's Chris that's been kidnapped. But still, this chip scene is still as awkward and doesn't play into anything else. At this point in the game, we're trying to figure out where Chris is, but Chris is never explicitly mentioned by name in the North American version up to this point. But at the very least, Hart at least mentions Chris looking for her, and also, you very clearly hear the person we killed dying, which makes sense there. This cutscene here is a lot more clear, honestly, and with some more implications on top of that, too. Sophia finds us and knows that we're freaking out because Chris is missing. Chris or Christy missing makes way more sense to how Irrational Heart is acting in the whole game. It actually makes him seem like he cares, and it makes the whole I love you bit at the end make so much more sense. And it's got word that Chris was being seen abducted by some guys dressed in uniforms from some biotech company. Sophia never explicitly says what the name of the company is in this version. However, there's a little hitch here. Sophia responds with a ... which implies that might actually be a setup for Hart, or she's working with them to try to get Hart to meet the head of Beta Corporation. Sophia does not show up for the rest of the game after this. So both theories of her actually just being a cop, just helping out, or straight up being on the side of Beta Corporation are viable. This cutscene more or less plays out the same. Hart freaks out, realizing that he just killed Chris. He seems a bit more human in his reactions. Yeah, what have I done to the love of my life? He admits that he actually loves her instead of it being the other way around, which actually plays off better and makes a lot more sense. I get why they would have translated that out of the North American version, but it does make it seem a little jilted as a result, a little lopsided. Chris, don't leave me. Chris, this makes so much more sense. He has a more human reaction to Chris dying. And also, lets out some good, like, Resident Evil Wesker-style Chris's out of anger. However, it still transitions from that screen to Thinky Face. So that's still the same. What the hell does the world's largest corporation have to do with this? Whoever's responsible, they've screwed with me for the last time. I'll get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. This whole translation makes him seem a lot more severe, and he also, it doesn't as awkwardly notice the tube and the capsule this much. Still barely dwells on it, but it makes sense why he would be so mad at this point. This part here where we find Beta Corporation. The dialogue is completely different. Chris, I hope your spirit is watching over me. It's not as cool as a one-liner, but it makes so much more sense. However, they definitely had to change this part where he just yells, "Bastards, do all of you want to die?" That needed to be changed. I don't think they would have gotten away with that one. You certainly took your time getting here. So this dialogue is similar at points. Almost missed my appointment. No date this time, just a meeting. Also a lot more swearing, because Hart is understandably pretty upset about losing the love of his life. And they actually keep bringing up the drug, so it actually does loop back into the beginning of the game versus it just being all the chaos that's going on at some point. This version is a lot longer and a lot wordier than the North American version, so I get trimming some of this down, especially considering Hart swears a lot. I can't tell if that's just the translation team just having fun with it, or if it really is just like that. But it does at least make some things make a bit more sense. Hart is a lot more distraught and a lot more upset about losing Chris. So he's basically on edge the entire time and just swearing and just saying things like, "You're out of your damn mind," a lot more often. The head of Beta Corporation is still more or less making it seem like everyone's just there for sacrifice, just, you know, for the greater good of society and for the company and stuff like that. So a lot of the things still are the same, including this part. Like, that's all you have to say, Hart? That's all I get for waiting all this time for our reunion? It still was a pretty solid translation in that sense, but still, like, a lot of, no, screw that. I didn't come all this way just to talk to the scumbag who killed Chris and Reese. And then, of course, this is one of my favorite lines here, actually. Did you think you had a choice in the matter? It was your destiny to arrive here. Destiny? No, screw that, too! All your big talk about waiting for me, my destiny, and all that crap is just you screwing with my head. There's a lot of fun dialogue here that they didn't transfer over, and I get why. Because again, really wordy. That's gotta take up a lot of space on the cart as it is, and then having to censor Hart a fair amount to make sure he's just not swearing the entire time. But it feels so much more impactful in this version, and maybe because this is just an action game, it wasn't as big a deal. It wasn't really needed, but I like seeing the difference here. I think it's really cool. And of course, we still have the Thinky Face. I'm a clone? He realizes that a lot faster and a lot cleaner, I guess, maybe, instead of just being like, we look the same. You and I are puppets who exist solely to ensure that this company continues to exist for eternity. First it was me, then it will be you. And then after you, it'll be our brother in the capsule. They talk about the capsule guy a lot more too. That is your destiny which I speak. They really focus more on the fact that he's a clone a bit more and everything that's happening. Less than it does in the, or more than it does in the NES version. If you know I was just a part of some sex experiment, I still got a mind of my own. You're not gonna decide my own destiny for me, and nothing you say is gonna change that. It's strong, it's good dialogue, honestly. It's really well done. The destiny I have is to put a bullet in your head. If you truly refuse to be swayed, I see no reason to spend any further effort trying to convince you. By forsaking your destiny, you are therefore forfeiting your life. Bring it on. And then the clone fight happens. Same as usual. They never actually specifically state who the clone's name is. Like, Hart's the only one of the clones that has a name. This is not really that big of a difference here, but I find it interesting that they specifically mention that we can go, that he goes to the roof to show his true power instead of just being like, all right, you're gonna die now. It makes so much more sense for the fight on the top. And I like that Hart is actually chasing him down with this badass line too. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth, to the bowels of hell, if that's what it takes. That's some good shit there. And then the final cutscene just kinda, again, says you can't change destiny. The big focus on the fights was destiny. But Hart still gets a smug, watch me in there. Your destiny was decided for you before you were ever conceived. You cannot escape it any more than I. Still kind of the same as the main game, but I just like the impact of it as well. But that's it. Like I said, more or less the same. There's just a couple of spots where it just jumps around a bit more and it's way more detailed. The Reese fight specifically, that's hugely different. And just the more fleshed out version of the final cutscene, which I kind of wish they had kept that part. Although they're not too far off on it. Otherwise, yeah, that's it for the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the playthrough. Like I said, this game's really fun. I'm gonna do a lot of other Ninja Gaiden likes as well. I've got at least one more NES one in mind I'd like to do. And instead of that, this time we actually have a proper mwahaha, and the proper the end, but everything else is otherwise the same. So I'll see you all next time for the next playthrough of the next game we play. Bye, everybody.